Hello everyone. So in today's class, let us see flexibility method for beams. How to analyze the beams for flexibility method. So we are going to see solving a beam problem with 2-span continuous and 3-span continuous beams. So to start with, if you see, this method was initially formulated by Maxwell and Moore in the year 1874. So we all know Moore's theorems, that is moment area method in strength of materials. And Maxwell's reciprocal theorem is also one of the very famous method to solve the beams, especially frames and trusses also. And this specific flexibility method may not be useful for computer programming because we need to choose certain redundance here, and the choice of redundance will vary from person to person. So that is why this is not an ideal thing for computer programming. And here all the unknowns that we choose are redundant actions which are arbitrarily chosen. That is why this is linked to computer programming. Now, when we see the definition of the flexibility method, it is defined as the deformation per unit force, which means we will try to apply the unit force and then the corresponding deformations and all has to be calculated. So flexibility is defined as deformation per unit force. Let us see how do we need to calculate the flexibility coefficients of a beam subjected to several loads. So here, whatever the load that is acting on the beam are called actions. So the actions are represented as either forces P or moments M. So this is a moment acting here and these are the forces acting here. So in a given problem, here the unknowns are forces. We will need to calculate the deformations, but the unknowns are forces. So now see here, because of the action on the beam, deformations due to corresponding actions will be, so the deformation D1 because of A1 and deformation D2 because of A2, and then because of this moment we have rotation. So moment corresponds to rotation and force corresponds to deformation. Next, now we all know method of consistent deformation. In method of consistent deformation, we will try to first calculate the degree of static indeterminacy, and depending upon the degree of static indeterminacy, if there is any other extra reaction component, then we will release that and apply unit load in that direction. So let us see that concept here. So here we have two specific reaction components, here one and here one. So we will talk about it a bit later, how do we release all these things. But as of now, let us see how to apply the unit load. Now, what are the actions here? Actions are A1, A2, and A3. So corresponding to these actions, we will apply unit load once every time. So now this 1 is unit load applied in the direction of A1. So when you apply the load in the direction of A1, unit load, you will get 3 flexibility coefficients. So these are all flexibility coefficients. So what does F11 means? Deformation at 1 due to unit force at 1. So deformation at 1 due to unit force at 1. Then deformation at 2 due to unit force at 1. Deformation at 3 due to unit force at 1. So like that, we will apply the unit forces in all the three load components. One is A1. So here we apply the unit force in A2, like that F12, F22, F32. And then we are applying unit moment, that is because of A3. So now because of A3, we are applying unit moment 1, and we got F13, F23, F33. So this is how we get the flexibility matrix 3 by 3. So the size of the matrix will also depend upon the number of redundants that we need to release, the degree of static indeterminacy, right? Now, so the final expression is given by D1 is equal to D11 plus D12 plus D13, like that for D2, D3. Now, if you want to write the expression, so flexibility is defined as, so flexibility inverse into delta is equal to P. So now that's what you can see here. Actions are forces and F is flexibility matrix and D corresponds to deflection due to externally applied load. So any equation can be represented as deformation is equal to flexibility into load. Load is just nothing but action. That's what you can see here. These are all flexibility coefficients. And flexibility coefficient Fij. So here example was represented. Fij corresponds to deformation at I due to unit load at J. That's what we need to understand. Okay. Now, if you choose a two-span continuous beam with single redundancy, so how do we know it has single redundancy? Here, two reaction components are there for hinge, for roller 1 and another roller 1. So total will be 4. And we know 3 equations of equilibrium. So degree of static indeterminacy will be 1. Therefore, 1 redundant. So from this problem, we need to make it statically determinate by releasing any one of these reaction. In this problem, we have released the center reaction. So this support was removed. So now this is simply supported. So for the released structure with this load, we will calculate the deformation, that is delta B. So how it is looking like? Simply supported beam with UDL. So and the deformation will be 5 double L power 4 by 384 EI. And we have minus symbol because it is downward deflection. Okay. Now what are we doing? We are trying to apply the unit load in the direction where we have released the support. Because we have released it there, we are applying the unit load. And the corresponding deformation will be this delta B, capital delta B. Displacement due to unit load. So this is looking like a simply supported beam with point load at center. So the corresponding deflection will be WL cube by 48 EI. WL cube by 48 EI. But W is equal to 1 because we have applied unit load here. So what will be the, now actually there will be a reaction RB, but what did we consider? 1. So what will be the corresponding deformation due to RB? RB into delta B. That is the deformation here. Okay. Next. So now what do we need to do? We need to satisfy the, so this is RB into delta B. So let us choose compatibility condition. Compatibility condition means nothing. It's a simple equation of superposition. So we are superposing the deflection due to externally applied load plus deflection due to the redundant point, deflection at the redundant point equal to 0. So then we will get RB is equal to, because this is unknown here, RB is reaction, that is unknown. So RB is equal to 5 double L by 8. Now delta B corresponds to deformation due to externally applied load. Capital delta B is the flexibility coefficient. Okay. Now let us see how to represent this. This we have already seen, flexibility influence coefficients. That's what we call it as. In stiffness method, we will talk about K11, K21, K22. Similarly, let us see now. If you take this specific beam, an action was applied at the end, A1, and a moment was chosen, A2. So let us assume that these two are the released forces or released components chosen for this problem. In this regard, first thing, we are applying the unit force at 1. What will happen? So this is a force. Because of the force, it will deform vertically. So this vertical deformation, now see, deformation at 1 due to unit force at 1. So we applied unit force in the direction of A1. Next, this is a moment. So it will rotate. So because of this moment, it rotates by an amount theta. So this is deformation at 2 due to unit force at 1. Same. So similarly, we are doing it for second case also. We are applying unit moment. Because of applying unit moment, F12, F22. So now we will get the corresponding flexibility matrix. So deflections due to applied load is equal to flexibility times action. That is the force. So that is how we need to represent. This is a very important equation. Fine, you can see it here. Action matrix or action vector, it is also called as force vector. Okay, next. Let us choose a cantilever element. So now how to calculate the flexibility matrix when we choose the released components. So here when we choose the released component as forces, it is obtained based on the basic strength of materials concepts of cantilever, deflection of a cantilever beam with point load at free end, slope of the cantilever beam, all those things has to be studied. So now let us say F11, that is deformation at 1 due to unit force at 1. So again, when we take a member like this, unit load at 1 is applied, and we need to sketch the bending moment diagram and then get the deformation there. The deformation at that value will be L cube by 3EI, because P is equal to 1. Actually, it is PL cube by 3EI, but P is equal to 1 here. Now F21. So 21 means deformation at 2 due to unit force at 1, and 2 is in the direction of moment. So it's kind of rotation. So this will be ml square by 2ei, and m is equal to 1. And F22. So here what is F22? So in this direction itself we need the rotation, and we have applied the unit moment there. So because of that it will be ml by ei. So that is your corresponding rotation value, and m is equal to 1. So therefore L by ei. So using the concept of symmetry, Fij is equal to Fji. So now this is how we get the expression for, so D is equal to F into A. So this is the 2 by 2 matrix for the calculation of flexibility matrix. So when we choose both force and moment as redundants. Okay. Now if there is more than one redundant, so this process is again similar to the process where we have done for one redundancy. So again we choose redundants. As I said, it is easy to choose moments as redundants. So M is easy. But if you take force as redundant or reaction as redundant, it will take some time to calculate the corresponding flexibility matrix. So see, same process. So here they have chosen force for the representation of the derivation. So Q1 and Q2 are the forces, and then we have the corresponding deflection diagram due to the application of load, and then we apply the unit forces and get the flexibility matrix. Once we get the flexibility matrix, we will formulate and calculate the forces. Now there is one more phenomena here. If you have the sinking of support or support settlement, then you need to accordingly choose your problem. So expression. So dq is because of sinking of supports. So when there is a sinking of support or settlement of support, the corresponding deformation should be represented in dq, and dql is just nothing but the deformation due to externally applied load. F is flexibility matrix, and q is again the force that is required for us, that is action or p. So now see here, if there is no support displacement, dq will be 0. So directly you will get the action. So for simplicity case, for solving the problems, I have made it like this. So force is represented as P, F is represented as flexibility, delta represents the sinking of support or settlement of support, delta L is displacement due to load. Okay. Now to calculate the flexibility matrix, when we choose only moment as redundants, these are the expressions. This is a strength of materials concept. So let us take a simply supported beam, and we have applied a moment at both the ends. So let us assume it to be unit moments. Now see here. So there is a unit moment 1 applied. So you have reactions RA. There is no load acting on the beam. Therefore, RA plus RB is equal to 0. Now taking moments about B. So sigma MB is equal to 0. What we will get? RA into L, that is clockwise. So this is RA into L. Now this is anti-clockwise moment. Minus 1 is equal to 0. So RA is equal to 1 by L. So that's what. So RA is equal to 1 by L. But what is RA plus RB? 0. Now what will be RB? RB will be minus 1 by L. That is downwards. That's what you can see. Now, if you want to calculate moment at any given section, I will cut a section. So this has been cut here already. This is the section X. So Mx is equal to downwards minus 1 by L into X. So that is minus X by L. So this is the moment curvature relation. So M is equal to minus EI d square y by dx square. When we integrate it, EI dy by dx. When we double integrate, EI y. So this is the slope. This expression is for slope, and this expression is for deflection. Now, how to get these values? We need to apply boundary condition. At x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. When we put y is equal to 0 and x 0, C2 will become 0. Now, at x is equal to L, y is equal to 0. So when we substitute this, what we will get? y is equal to 0. So x cube means L cube. So L cube by 6L is equal to plus L cube by 6L plus C1L is equal to 0. From this, C1 will be obtained, and that is given by minus of L1 by 6. Okay. Now dy by dx. So dy by dx is equal to 1 by I into the slope equation is obtained. Correspondingly, you are trying to get the values of flexibility coefficient. So L by 6ei, L by 3ei. So L by 3ei, L by 6ei. So remember one simple thing, that this can also be considered as plus depending upon the direction we choose in order to avoid confusion. So near end. So when you take 1, this is near end, and in this near end we have L by 3ei. And for far end, you have L by 6ei. When we have two members, if this is considered, we have L by 3ei plus L by 3ei. 2 L by 3ei we will get. Okay. So similarly, as we have done for earlier case, if you are trying to choose both moment as well as shear or reaction as your redundant, then this is your flexibility matrix. We have already derived it in the previous slides. So it is up to you to choose the redundant redundant values, because once if you choose force as a redundant, as you can see here, it takes some time for you to derive. If it is a moment one, then it is very easy to solve. But if you don't have a choice, then you need to choose both. So this is the final slide, step-by-step process. So first step, calculate the degree of static indeterminacy. Next, release the redundants. It can be moments or forces. So if you release forces, it is time consuming. So if you release moments, it is easy. But in some cases, both forces and moments are to be released. And then calculate the deflections due to externally applied load if the forces are released. But you need to calculate the rotations if the moments are released. One more thing here is, whenever you are trying to calculate the deflections and rotations, you need to use conjugate beam method. So in conjugate beam method, for a real beam, if you are trying to take externally applied load, for conjugate beam, we need to calculate, say if we want the rotation for original beam, for conjugate beam, it has to be shear force. What does that mean? You need to sketch the bending moment diagram, that is also called as M by EI diagram. So for M by EI diagram, if you calculate shear force, you will get rotation. For M by EI diagram, if you calculate bending moment, you will get deflections. So whenever you are choosing forces as a released structure, you need to calculate the deflections. But if you choose the moments to be released, then you need to calculate rotations. So one important thing here is M by EI diagram. Kindly look into the strength of materials conjugate beam concept. Now we need to write the flexibility matrix based on the supports released and calculate the unknowns, that is forces or moments, using this expression F inverse delta is equal to P. Right. Thank you. For any clarifications, you can text me.